I'm not a big fan of coming out and saying touring is challenging. It's one of life's great luxuries as a player to tour with England. It's incredible, but it is a long time away from home, so having a bit of diversity in what you do in your prep and recovery is great. So I fully agree with nipping out to Abu Dhabi for a few days to catch up with the family, maybe get in the swimming pools, rest and recover, and then fly back in rejuvenated for the next test match. I think it's such clever thinking from the England setup, and I'm certainly not someone who would criticise anything on that front of just refreshing the mind before you go back into battle. The football rivalries in the England change room are quite diverse, to be honest. Ollie Pope's a big Arsenal fan, I'm a big Nottingham Forest fan, and you've got Jimmy Anderson, who's a Burnley fan, and Joe Root, who's a Sheffield United fan. But then we head off outside the Premier League, and we've got Zach Crawley's Charlton Athletic, Mark Wood's Wimbledon AFC, Jack Leach's Bristol City, who I had a bit of banter about us beating them in the FA Cup on penalties in recent days. So Jofra Archer's probably the most competitive as a Man United fan, who always seems to send me an emoji when Man United beat up my beloved Forest. But yeah, the rivalries aren't too intense, and actually genuinely there's a bit of happiness when one of our teams wins in the England change room, as long as it's not over one of us. DRS versus VAR. I don't want to get too much into this argument, but one thing I would say is DRS works really well and gets criticised very rarely. I think part of that is because the conversation is around it. Actually, I've been in Premier League football stadiums when VAR is going on. It's very boring. There's nothing going on. You're just watching a screen saying checking for a foul. But I think they should engage people by let's hear the referees talk about their decision making and what they're thinking, and then it would help us fans understand what's going on. I do actually recently have the padel bug, along with 99% of my friends. Actually, it's becoming a very popular sport, and I think a few reasons for that. Actually, I think the ball seems to be in play a huge amount for a racket sport, so you're constantly on the move. An hour's padel, you can burn 1,000 calories, but you also can be competitive and have hand-eye coordination, and there's so many different variants of shots you can play. The serving isn't overwhelming. Sometimes in tennis you feel like the serve, if you can't get that right, you can't compete, whereas the serve in padel just gets the game going. And I think just because it's new, it's become really addictive to me, so hopefully I'll keep that going for a bit of time. But I've got a bit of work to do to stay up with some of these boys I've played with. AB de Villiers is incredible. Tom Abel's a very stylish player. I hear Joss Butler's right up there as well. So I've got a bit of work to do before I compete at any level in the cricketing fraternity.